I stared at my phone screen, my heart pounding as I read the messages in the family group chat my cousin Melissa had accidentally added me to. There it was, in black and white. My mother's message to my sister Rachel, calling me our reliable little ATM machine, followed by 3 laughing emojis. My name is Maya Chen. I'm 28 years old. And for the past 5 years, I've been working double shifts as a registered nurse at Mercy General Hospital in Los Angeles, sending $3,000 every single month to cover what I believed were my mother's urgent medical expenses and nursing home care. I grew up in a typical suburban household in Pasadena. My father passed away from a heart attack when I was 15, leaving my mother Linda to raise me and my older sister Rachel alone. Or at least, that's how the story was supposed to go. The reality was different. Rachel was always the golden child, the one who could do no wrong, the daughter who got the praise while I got the expectations. After Dad died, I threw myself into my studies. I wanted to help people, to make a difference. I became a nurse, started at Mercy General right after graduation, and worked my way up. Meanwhile, Rachel married young, had 2 kids, and lived in a nice house in Orange County with her husband Derek. She always seemed to have everything figured out. Then, 5 years ago, everything changed. Rachel called me one evening, her voice trembling with what I thought was genuine concern. Mom had been diagnosed with a degenerative condition. She needed round-the-clock care. The nursing home Rachel had found was expensive, but it was the best facility in the area. Mom needed me. I didn't hesitate. I moved into a cheaper studio apartment, sold my car and bought a used Honda, canceled my gym membership, stopped going out with friends. Every penny I could spare went into that monthly $3,000 payment. I ate instant ramen more nights than I care to admit. I picked up extra shifts on holidays, worked through my birthday, through Christmas, through every moment I could have been living my own life. Rachel told me Mom was too fragile for visitors. The stress of seeing people might worsen her condition. I believed her. I sent cards instead, called the facility to check in, spoke with nurses who assured me Mom was receiving excellent care. I felt guilty for not being there in person, but I told myself I was helping in the way that mattered most. I never questioned it, not once. Until 3 weeks ago, I was finishing a brutal 12-hour shift in the ICU when my phone buzzed. A notification from a group chat I didn't recognize. Chen Family Updates, it was called. I opened it, confused. The messages loaded, and my blood ran cold. Rachel, just booked our flight to Maui. Can't wait for this girls' trip, Mom. Mom, I'm so excited, honey. And Maya's payment just came through, so we're all set for those spa treatments you wanted. Rachel. LOL, she's so predictable. Did you see her Instagram? Still wearing those scrubs like a badge of honor. Mom. Our reliable little ATM machine. Rachel. I almost feel bad. Almost. But seriously, if she's dumb enough to believe you're in a nursing home without ever visiting, that's on her. Mom. She always was the gullible one. Remember when we convinced her the tooth fairy was real until she was 12? Rachel. A nurse who can't even diagnose her own mother's BS. Pathetic. The messages went back months. Conversations about shopping sprees, vacation plans, Rachel's kitchen renovation, all funded by me, all while I ate 79-cent ramen and wore the same 3 pairs of scrubs on rotation. My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped my phone. A text appeared at the bottom of the chat. Melissa. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Maya. I added you by accident. I didn't know they were. I had no idea. Then I was removed from the chat. But I'd already screenshot everything. I sat in my car in the hospital parking lot for an hour, just staring at those screenshots. 5 years. $180,000. I'd sent them $180,000. I did the math in my head. That was a down payment on a house. That was a new car. That was the financial security I'd sacrificed while they laughed at me behind my back. I called the nursing home the next morning. Sunrise Meadows Care Facility, the receptionist answered. Hi, I'm calling to check on my mother, Linda Chen. She's been a resident there for about 5 years. A pause, the sound of typing. I'm sorry, ma'am, but we don't have anyone by that name in our system. Could you check again? Linda Chen, Chen. More typing. I've checked our current residents and our records going back 7 years. There's no Linda Chen registered here. I thanked her and hung up. My next call was to my bank. I needed transaction records. Then I called my best friend Jordan, the only person I'd stayed close with through all of this. Maya, you sound weird. What's wrong? I told her everything. When I finished, there was a long silence. Are you kidding me right now? I wish I was. Maya, you need to sue them. This is fraud. This is actual, literal fraud. They're my family. They're thieves who happen to share your DNA. There's a difference. She gave me the number of her cousin's law firm. I called that afternoon. The attorney's name was Patricia Alvarez. She was sharp, direct, and after reviewing my evidence, she was furious on my behalf. This is one of the most clear-cut cases of financial fraud I've seen, she said during our first meeting. Family makes it more complicated emotionally, but legally, we have everything we need. What are my chances? With these screenshots, the bank records, and the fact that the nursing home has no record of your mother, I'd say we're looking at a very strong case. We can sue for restitution of the full amount plus damages. I took a deep breath. Let's do it. Filing the lawsuit felt like jumping off a cliff. The moment the papers were served, my phone exploded. Rachel called me 17 times in 1 hour. I didn't answer. She left voicemails that ranged from angry to pleading to threatening. How could you do this to your own mother? You're destroying this family over money? We can talk about this, Maya. Don't do this. My mother's messages were worse. She tried guilt first. I raised you. I sacrificed everything after your father died. This is how you repay me? When I didn't respond, she switched tactics. You were always the selfish one. Rachel was right about you. I blocked both of them, but the rest of the family wasn't so easy to ignore. My Aunt Susan called, lecturing me about family loyalty. My Uncle Paul sent a long email about forgiveness and moving forward. Cousins I hadn't heard from in years suddenly appeared in my DMs, telling me I was being cruel, vindictive, ungrateful. Only Melissa stood by me. She called the night after I filed. I had no idea they were doing this to you. I swear, Maya. I thought you knew about the trips and everything. I thought you were all okay with it. How would I be okay with this? I don't know. Family stuff is complicated. But what they did, that's not okay. That's not complicated. That's just wrong. Thank you for saying that. I'm going to testify if you need me to. I have receipts of my own. Pictures from their trips, messages about shopping. Whatever you need. The trial took 4 months to begin. 4 months of my mother and sister's attorney trying to paint me as a vindictive daughter seeking revenge over a simple misunderstanding. My client was ill. Their lawyer argued during one of the preliminary hearings. Miss Chen's sister was helping coordinate care. If there was confusion about the specific facility, that's hardly grounds for a lawsuit of this magnitude. Patricia demolished that argument with the chat screenshots. The defendants explicitly discussed deceiving my client. They called her an ATM machine and laughed about her believing their lies. This wasn't confusion. This was intentional, sustained fraud. The day of the trial, I wore my navy blue suit, the one I'd bought for nursing school graduation and hadn't worn since. I sat at the plaintiff's table, my hands folded, trying to look calmer than I felt. My mother and Rachel sat across the aisle. Mom wore a cream-colored dress and pearls, playing the part of the dignified matriarch. Rachel kept dabbing at her eyes with a tissue, though I never saw actual tears. Patricia's opening statement was devastating. This case is about betrayal in its purest form. For 5 years, Maya Chen sacrificed her own comfort, her own future, her own life, because she believed she was helping her mother in a time of desperate need. But that need was a fiction, that mother was a lie, and that sacrifice was exploited for luxury vacations, shopping sprees, and home renovations, while Miss Chen ate instant noodles in a studio apartment and worked herself to exhaustion. The evidence was damning. Bank records showing my monthly $3,000 transfers, screenshots of the group chat messages, Melissa's testimony about the trips, the purchases, the lifestyle my money funded, a statement from Sunrise Meadows confirming my mother had never been a patient there. Their defense crumbled quickly. Rachel's lawyer tried to argue that I'd given the money willingly, that there was no contract obligating repayment, but the chat logs proved intent to deceive. The nursing home lie proved fraud. When Rachel took the stand, she broke. "It wasn't my idea," she sobbed. "Mom said Maya owed her. Mom said it was only fair after everything she'd done for us growing up." "So you're saying your mother orchestrated this?" Patricia asked. Yes. But I went along with it. I knew it was wrong. I wanted the money too. My mother's testimony was different. She sat straight-backed, defiant. "I raised 2 daughters alone after my husband died. I sacrificed everything for them. If Maya chose to help me financially, that was her choice. I never forced her. But you did lie to her, Patricia said. You told her you were in a nursing home. You told her you needed expensive medical care. I may have exaggerated my situation. You committed fraud. I prefer to think of it as allowing my daughter to feel useful. The courtroom was silent. Even the judge looked disgusted. The jury deliberated for less than 3 hours. Guilty on all counts of fraud and financial exploitation. The judge ordered my mother and Rachel to pay restitution of $180,000 plus $75,000 in damages and legal fees. My mother was ordered to sell her condo to satisfy the judgment. Rachel's wages would be garnished. I felt nothing as the verdict was read. No triumph, no satisfaction. Just a hollow numbness where my family used to be. The check arrived 6 weeks later, $255,000. I stared at it for a long time before depositing it. With that money, I put a down payment on a small 2-bedroom house in Glendale. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. I had a yard for the first time since childhood. I bought a new car, a reliable Toyota that didn't make weird noises when I accelerated. I paid off my student loans. I started going to therapy. My therapist, Dr. Reeves, asked me during our 3rd session if I felt guilty about the lawsuit. Sometimes, I admitted. They're still my mother and sister. Do you think they feel guilty about what they did to you? I thought about the chat messages, the laughter, the casual cruelty. No, then why do you owe them guilt they never earned? It was a good question. 8 months after the trial, my mother had a stroke. A real one this time. Rachel called me from the hospital. Her voice panicked. Maya, you need to come. It's Mom. She had a stroke. It's bad. Is she going to survive? They think so, but she'll need rehab, maybe long-term care. Maya, I can't afford this. Derek lost his job and with the garnishment, we're barely making our mortgage. That sounds difficult. Maya, please. I know things have been bad between us, but she's our mother. She needs help. I thought about all the times I'd eaten ramen for dinner so I could send that month's payment. About the promotions I'd turned down because they would have meant less overtime money. About the life I could have lived if I'd known the truth. I'll pay for a basic nursing home, I said finally. Somewhere clean and safe where she'll get the care she needs. But I won't be visiting, and I won't be giving you any money directly. Maya, that's my offer. Take it or leave it. How can you be so cold? You and Mom taught me that family is just a word people use when they want something from you. I learned the lesson well. I hung up. I did pay for the nursing home. A decent place, nothing fancy, but somewhere Mom would be safe and cared for. I set up automatic payments directly to the facility. I didn't visit. Rachel tried to reconcile several times over the next year. Cards on my birthday, texts on holidays, a long email apologizing and asking if we could start over. I didn't respond. My mother died 2 years after her stroke. Complications from pneumonia. Rachel called to tell me about the funeral arrangements. I'm not coming, I told her. She was your mother. She was a woman who gave birth to me and then spent 5 years treating me like an ATM machine. I already grieved the mother I thought I had. I have nothing left for the woman she actually was. I hope you can live with yourself. I'm learning to. I didn't go to the funeral. Instead, I spent that Saturday morning in my garden, planting tomatoes and basil. Melissa came over later with coffee and donuts. How are you doing? She asked. Better than I thought I would be. We sat on my back porch, drinking coffee in the sunshine. Do you ever regret it? Melissa asked. The lawsuit, cutting them off, all of it? I thought about it honestly. I regret that it was necessary. I regret that my mother and sister were the kind of people who would do that to me. But the lawsuit itself? Cutting them off? No. That was survival. You're stronger than I could be. I'm not strong. I'm just done being weak in ways that benefit people who don't care about me. My life now is quieter than it used to be. I still work at Mercy General, but I dropped down to regular 40-hour weeks. I have time for friends now. Jordan and I go hiking on weekends. I joined a book club. I'm dating someone, a teacher named Marcus, who makes me laugh and has never once asked me for money. I cook real meals in my kitchen. I have a savings account that actually has money in it. I sleep through the night without anxiety about making ends meet. Sometimes I think about my mother and Rachel. I wonder if they ever really understood what they did, if they ever felt genuine remorse, or if they just resented getting caught. I don't think I'll ever know, and I've made peace with that. Last week, I got a letter from Rachel. I almost threw it away without reading it, but curiosity won. The letter was long, rambling, full of excuses and justifications. But buried in the middle was one line that stuck with me. "I guess I always thought you'd forgive us eventually. You always did before." She was right. I had always forgiven them before. Every slight, every dismissal, every time they made me feel small. I'd swallowed it down and kept loving them anyway. But there's a difference between forgiveness and letting yourself be destroyed. I wrote one line on the back of her letter and sent it back. "You taught me I was an ATM, so that's all you get. I'll pay for Mom's nursing home until the end, but I'm done being your family." I sealed it, mailed it, and went back to my life. The life I built with money I earned. The life I finally chose for myself. The life where I'm more than someone's cash machine. Some people think cutting off family is cruel. They say blood is thicker than water. They say you only get one mother, one sister. But what they don't understand is that real family doesn't exploit you. Real love doesn't come with a price tag. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is recognize when someone sees you as a resource instead of a person. I'm not an ATM. I'm Maya Chen. I'm a nurse. I save lives every day at work. And I finally learned to save my own.